Hello and welcome to the show. This week's Will It Roll is with some of the cars that I've used in the FailRace versus the community. Up first, we have the rather dominant Lotus Cortinas that were ran, I think, last week. These are very quick cars when it came to racing, and this one is likely to be the trickiest out of all of these cars when it comes to rolling as well, even though you saw it got very far on its side into that first corner where I rolled, or nearly rolled, the Ford Deluxe, and again through here and it's all lost control, and I somehow nearly rolled it going the other way across the curb. This car has been set up purposefully not to roll. As I was building this car, I did a test run at Road Atlanta and I was having real problems having this car rolling over if you so much just breathed on a curb. So this has been set up to prevent it from rolling. It does go an awful long way on its side when you do hit a curb. However, it doesn't, or it shouldn't, fall over. At least it wasn't supposed to. And again, I somehow managed to get it onto its side by crossing the curb in the wrong direction. I'm not quite sure how that works. Now, in all my tests at Road Atlanta, I didn't get the thing to roll. However, this curb here is far more notorious for rolling cars on, so I wondered how it would fare, and it got very close to rolling. I also managed to spin it out there. That was an awful long way on two wheels before clattering the wall. But yeah, this car, it took a while. I was determined. I carried on for a little bit, and I soon realised that it wasn't actually going to roll in the conventional manner. I clatter into the wall, it spins around there, and it goes on both sides. It doesn't actually roll properly. But yeah, I figured this isn't actually going to roll properly. I've actually managed to set it up so that it doesn't roll. It goes a long way on its side and then stops. So I had to get a little bit kind of clever, a little bit cheeky, and my plan was to actually fling the car off the walls. So I'd get it on its side, get it on two wheels, and then aim for the wall and hope that I get a lucky bounce and get it to go onto its roof. And sure enough, it's worked just about. it was a little bit odd, but you can't get this car to roll normally. I'll explain later on what I did to make it sort of unrollable. But yes, by aiming at the wall after you come off the curb, I could manage to get it to go onto its roof. Up next, we have a Citroen C1. This is from the second FailRace versus the community, where we raced city cars. These were all E-Class. They were great fun to race. That's some really good racing. I'm very tempted to do something similar again, as yeah, these cars were fantastic to race. As far as rolling goes, well, it is E-Class, but it does have quite a lot of race upgrades, and sure enough, it was a very straightforward to get it to roll. It did an incredible tumble though. I'm not sure, I mean, this, as I said, is not exactly fast. Not sure quite how I got so many rolls out of that little thing, but yeah, that's on its roof as well. Again, the reason why is probably very straightforward to roll is I'm pretty sure that it has race tyres and race suspension. All of these cars are going to be running race tyres. That is the first upgrade I put on any car. If I'm going to be using it for any race series, it's straight race tyres are the most important thing you can do, as the tyres are the only part of the car that are in contact with the road. They are by far the most important aspect. Well, other than, I guess you could say engine is important to actually make the thing move. But when it comes to upgrading, tyres are vitally important if you're going to be using them for racing. Up next, it is the Volvo. This actually featured in two races and did very well in both of them, and it was, yeah, very straightforward to roll as well. This was in the Swedish cars race when I got bored of my Saab 9-3 that was useless, and it was in the estate car race. It's a very quick car. These Volvo 850Rs in B class are pretty damn impressive, or they can be anyway. So yeah, it was straightforward, easy enough to roll, but yeah, a very good car. We have the Cadillac CTS-V from the sedan racing. Now this is a bit of an unusual one for me. I tend not to build cars like this. I tend to go for the better handling ones. However, for this, I wanted some straight line speed, and the Cadillac is incredibly fast. That does mean I sacrifice a little bit of handling. I'm not sure if I had enough. I think I had just enough PI to put race tyres on, but not a lot more after that. So this thing was an absolute handful when it came to actually trying to complete the races. It was probably the fastest car of the event, but I just couldn't keep it on the road. It was such a pain to try and keep everything together. Yeah, it was a difficult car to drive, and I think I nearly rolled it on Sebring. I might have nearly rolled it on somewhere else as well. I wasn't expecting it to be too hard to roll, and sure enough, on the second attempt, the first attempt I must have just missed the curb a little bit. I also love how it gets stuck on the tyre walls, yeah, just for good measure. Unfortunately, the game can't quite compute it being stuck like that, and it kind of slides its way down. But yeah, all of these cars, as they have race tyres, your race suspension, they're all fairly straightforward. when it comes to rolling. Now, normally with the versus the community cars, I don't tinker with the setup too much on them. I'm not really that bothered about kind of fine-tuning the setup, so I might lower the ride heights if the car's particularly high. I normally leave all spring stiffness and anti-roll bars and everything alone. I will change the gear, and that's another thing that's quite important to kind of get right with these cars, as normally the cars have far too long a gear in. I think, what was it? I've run car, or I've used car, should I say? I'll tune them. That if you didn't adjust the gearbox, you'd only ever use like 2 or 3 gears, and if you put a race gearbox in there, you've got 6 gears. You might as well use all of them. So yeah, race tyres are important, race gearbox as well, so you can actually fine tune the gearing is always useful. This Celica was a little bit of a pain, but that fell over just about. It was a bit of a slow motion roll, and there was a bit of assistance from the wall involved in that, although I'm pretty sure this car would have gone over on its own accord anyway, even if the wall hadn't been there. But doesn't matter, the Celica's on its roof. This is one of the least successful of the versus the community cars that I've built. It wasn't particularly fast compared to the other hatchbacks. This one here also wasn't a particular success. It's a Chevelle SS. I picked this car when we ran the muscle cars because I was thinking, oh, the engine is one of the most powerful of the muscle cars, so we can leave the engine standard and we can upgrade all the handling bits. So it doesn't actually handle too bad, but it's kind of a bit too much of a compromise car. It's not that fast in a straight line, as I haven't touched the engine, and it's not that good through the corners because it's a Chevelle and it wasn't the best handling of muscle cars, so it didn't particularly do that well. We have another very, very slow motion roll from the Chevelle there. Does an interesting little bounce and twist on the floor though, and yeah, that fell over straightforwardly as well. This one is another one. I believe all of these cars here are on race tyres, so yeah, as soon as you put race tyres on the cars, they get an awful long way onto their sides the minute you touch, well, any curb, although this one especially. This is by far the largest and nastiest of all the curbs on Forza 4. Now, while I'm here, I'll talk briefly about what I did to the Cortina to make it such a pain to roll. With all of these cars, they're all built in a very, very similar way. It's handling first, and then if I have any PI left, I will go and upgrade the engines to make them a little bit faster. With the Cortina, I was having loads and loads of problems with that thing just rolling over all the time. So what I did is I lowered the suspension, made the suspension as low, I don't think I quite put it on the floor, but made the suspension as low as it would go, so you have a low centre of mass, and also made the suspension very, very soft. Not like completely extremely soft, but a lot softer than I would normally run the car. Now this does make the car handle not quite as well. It's not ideal to have the car as soft as I was running it. However, it does mean if you do hit a curb and you do get your car up on 2 wheels, that because the suspension's so low and the suspension is so soft, it compresses a lot, and the car just ends up scraping like the bodywork along the floor. So as you saw, it would get a long way on its side, but it would never go over because the body would always catch, then it would fall back down again. Okay, it's not ideal. You'd rather the car wasn't going up on 2 wheels and crashing back down, but it doesn't roll. I've tried this, experimented a little bit with this after doing that, and that does seem to stop cars from rolling. I mean, they'll still go a long way on 2 wheels, but they won't necessarily roll over. So if you have a car that you are having problems with it kind of rolling over when you hit curbs, that is my advice on how to solve the problem. You are going to lose a little bit of lap time, maybe lose a little bit of speed, as yeah, the suspension isn't set up quite ideally. However, you will lose an awful lot more time if you end up on your roof broken in a wall. So yeah, I've actually been amazingly informative in this video, but that is it for today, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you have challenges, Will It Roll, or if you have themes for Will It Roll, then please do leave them in the comment section. I will have a look through. My favourites will be in a video at some point. However, until next time, goodbye.